Okay, good morning, folks. It's 4:36 in the morning, 56.1 degrees on August 6th, day 126. I'm waking up. All right, very good morning, folks. It is 6:05 in the morning. Just hitting my last little walk around here. You can see that dry spot where my tent was. That's kind of funny. You can even see where the vestibule door was pinned open here. That's kind of funny. So I guess the wind was coming in this way. Anyways, there wasn't much wind last night, but there was a decent amount of rain for sure. And actually it started shortly after my evening check-in last night. It rained pretty good. There is, I'd say, sort of in between a steady rain, no rain at all, and then really heavy rain, Usually the heavy rain didn't last more than just a couple minutes or so, and then it would sort of slow back down again. But tent did all right. There wasn't, as I said, there wasn't much wind, just enough to, I don't know, just a little bit, not a lot. Tent did all right. Stuff stayed mostly dry. I mean, I think, sleeping bag definitely got just a little bit damp. I don't know whether that was just sort of spitting rain off of the roof, I think. Ceiling, whatever, roof, ceiling, it's the same material. But not soaked, and that's all right. I can deal with that. Man, so when I was editing yesterday's video, I didn't really put a wrap on that Spanish Peaks business, but dude, that was a really cool section. I don't know how much more like that I'll be seeing, because I think that's kind of the Spanish Peaks, that's kind of it. But it was really neat, and honestly, I feel like it'd be a worthwhile overnight or something if you were in the area and didn't have the didn't have the fortitude to go for the full-on Wind River Range. You could kind of see a similar sort of experience down here at Spanish Peaks, which is cool, and just a really cool experience. Today I'm not really sure exactly how far we're gonna go. I did decide to wake up a little bit earlier. I'd like to crank in some miles today. Again, if it was 130 from where I started yesterday to where I'm trying to get to Butte, then it would probably behoove me to try and get into bigger mile days if I'm trying to do 4.5 days to Butte. But we'll kind of have to see how that goes. We'll say the pit privy and picnic table this morning were wonderful. Always nice to kind of have a setup where I can actually kind of post up and do morning stuff. But let's see. I think maybe that's it for now. I'm gonna have to snap back on when I remember what else I wanted to say, because I think there is oh, I almost had it. Yeah, I'll snap back on. Oh, you know what it was? Okay, I was about to turn off. That point I was at yesterday when I was pointing out Gallatin Peak, and I said I was at 10,250. That is actually my last 5-digit elevation of this entire hike, which is, kind of bittersweet or whatever, but is what it is nonetheless. Last 5-digit elevation of the entire trail for me. So, don't get me wrong, I'm sure we'll have plenty more hills that slow me down between here and getting home, but that's the last one that's gonna have 5 digits on it, so that's kind of neat. All right, with that, I'll get hiking and I'll check in with y'all a little later. right, folks, it is 12 past 2, 55.8 degrees. Chilly day. I'm just leaving lunch over at what I think is called Cherry Creek Ranger Station. Might be called Cherry Lake Ranger Station. Cherry something Ranger Station at any point. At any rate, the ranger station, it's basically just a little cabin, just a little old school lumber cabin. And it was all locked up so that no one could get in. Of course, unless you have a key for the padlock, which I certainly do not. But there was a nice big porch, which I was kind of figuring there might be. So kind of made use of that porch, because it's been raining all day. It's not raining right now, which is why we're doing this right now. But it's been raining since about 9 in the morning or so. I put on my poncho, and really it's been raining anywhere between like a drizzle and a steady rain pretty much ever since. So today's been a bummer day, man. I'll tell you, before we get into the health update, just man. So I decided to take the Cherry Creek Trail 401, I think it is 401, pretty much all the way around to meet back up with what I called yesterday sort of the more established, efficient routes to get to Butte. But man, Cherry Creek Trail, if anyone's hiked it in 20 years, I would be amazed. Absolutely amazed. It was horrendous. Like when I broke camp this morning at shortly past 6, I was kind of like thinking like, ooh, if I get a little help from the trail and if the weather and conditions are nice, I could probably push and at least be close to 20 by 12. Well, it's sorry, there's a pair of glasses on the ground here. Just wanted to make sure they weren't mine. They are not mine. As I said, it's almost 2:15, and I'm not yet 18 miles into the day. My goodness, talk about slow going. So it was just replete with blowdowns, like pickup sticks, just crazy blowdowns. And the trail would just completely disappear. I mean, completely disappear. And then when there was a trail, it was so thick and overgrown that it would be up almost to my waist with just sopping, soaking wet grasses, wildflowers, and shrubbery of every last imaginable type. Thoroughly unpleasant. And the thing about all those blowdowns too is with the rain, all these trees, they all lose their bark, you know, when they're dead and they're just laying on the ground. They all lose their bark, and when they're wet, they are slippery. Here's a decent example of sort of the type of tree that I was coming across. And yeah, so just absolutely miserable morning trying to make progress. But hopefully here in another 4 miles or something, I'll be on some kind of road, I guess. I don't really know, which I'm not usually very fond of road walks, but my goodness, really, I'm just trying to get away from this terror that was the morning. But anyways, enough of that. It is day 126, and that means it's time for a health update. And just before we get into the health update, I just wanted to kind of put on folks' radar, man. So when I was in Bozeman, I was kind of looking ahead at how much time I think I have left. Again, there's still a burgeoning plan afoot that perhaps my wife Daphne will come out and meet me in the west somewhere, whether that's up here in Montana or Colorado or anywhere in between, or anything else is still TBD. But so I was kind of looking ahead at how long I think I have left on this trail. I might only have 3 or 4 health updates left after today. So I'll remind you guys on these health updates from here on in, start writing down questions, because once I finish this trail, I know a few of you have been commenting to see if I would do a Q&A or something after the hike. Well, I'm happy to. I'm really happy to. I'd love to. I look forward to it. But start writing down your questions. Don't post them. Don't give them to me just yet, because I'll lose them. But at some point here pretty soon, I'll be asking for questions for a Q&A. So So if you got a little notepad there, something like that, start writing them down. All right, last but not least, the health update, the reason why we're here. Generally, health is pretty good, so that's good. I do have some of that perennial pain in the right ankle. Yesterday I didn't take any ibuprofen. I felt like 3 zeros would kind of hit the reset on the ibuprofen regimen and see how the ankle fared. Well, felt great this first half of the day. Felt just a little sore the second half of the day. And when I woke up this morning, it was hurting, man. Well, so I'm back on ibuprofen. This morning I took 400 milligrams, and then just now at lunch I took another 200. So, and that's fine. It's not bothering me otherwise. I mean, it wasn't excruciating this morning, but it was definitely painful, definitely uncomfortable. So, aside from that, I had mentioned last week about a little like sore patch or tender patch on the front of my left ankle, which I felt was likely, caused by just some piece of dirt or debris or something else in between the tongue of my shoe and my foot. Well, that's resolved, and strangely, my right ankle is now experiencing that exact same complaint. So I have that little sore patch now on the front of my right ankle. But just like before, Leuco, a little bit of triple antibiotic. Let's kind of keep it covered and let it ride. I'll also mention yesterday, in my haste to get dressed in the hostel yesterday morning in zero dark early, I forgot to put on my, so usually now I'm wearing my Injinji toe socks as like a liner, and then my short, darn tough wool socks over top of those, and that's my sock game at the moment. Has been for a little while now. Well, I forgot to put on the darn tough sock on my left foot, so I threw on the shoe, threw on the gaiter, thought I was good to go, and probably 4 miles in or so, I was wondering why my left ankle was feeling so raw. Like, well, took off the shoe to kind of inspect, and sure, yeah, I mean, my ankle was literally kind of rubbed raw. I mean, it had rubbed off some skin. It wasn't bleeding or anything, but left unaddressed, I think it would have gotten there, so silly me. That was another situation for Leuco plus triple antibiotic, and then of course put on the darn tough, and we're good to go. So I don't expect that'll be an issue, but it is what it is. Final thing about the health update is a gear issue. Again, this Z-Pax pack of mine and its bottom strut. I'm very much looking forward to getting this loaner pack when I get to Butte in another few days. But that said, I really sat down when I was in Bozeman and really inspected the heck out of what was going on to try and understand what, if anything, could be done to, I don't know, remediate this horrible issue that makes it really uncomfortable. I won't bother getting into the details because it's just way too specific, but the steps I took seem to be holding up all day yesterday and so far today, so that's very hopeful. All the same, I'm very eager to get it like actually fixed instead of sort of patched, because the solution which I've applied is very much just a patch. Well, that's it for the weekly health update on day 126. Again, shouldn't be too many more of these, honestly, if all things go according to plan. Just 3 or 4 or something like that. No more than 5 for sure. So make a list of questions that you have for a Q&A, whether that's gear, approach, philosophies, I don't know, favorite section, least favorite section, any old thing. You guys always surprise me with questions, so keep it up. I'm excited to hear what you come up with, and I'll be asking for them in another few weeks. But for now, I'm going to try and get down to that road this hasn't been bad so far on this health update, but we'll try and get down to this road, see if we can't turn on some makeup speed and kind of cruise a little bit. Really wanted to do 30 today, but it's starting to look out of reach. We'll see. I'll check in with you guys a little bit later. Talk to you then. Alright folks, it is 5:47. That is Meadow Lake campgrounds on Lake, I think it's called Lake Ennis. And I mean, it's got picnic tables, it's got a pit privy, it's free, but it's early and I'm only like 28.5 miles in. I've really been back and forth as to whether I want to stay there. It's a long jump, man. I really want 4 days plus a short day to get to Butte. So if I were to hang out here, I'd probably have about 80 miles remaining on this trail, which even if I were to do a 30 tomorrow and a 30 the next day, still leaves 20 miles, which ain't great. Certainly isn't a super short day. Oh man, I wish I could stay here. The other big bummer is that the national forest is beyond reach for tonight. I mean, unless I were to have like a really crazy day, the national forest, I don't know what it is, like 8 or 9 miles or something like that, maybe more, I don't really know. Which means that by skipping this place and pretty well resigning myself to not making the national forest, I have resigned myself to camping someplace probably without what most people would call permission or legal right. It's not my favorite thing, but man, I gotta get miles in. Yeah, it's not usually the sort of mentality I like to adopt, but this is just kind of what it is, unfortunately. Something that's been kicking around my head all day. I probably won't do this, but it's been kicking around my head all day because I knew that it was possible that I would get here too early and that I'd want to do more miles and that I wouldn't make the national forest. Something that's been kicking around my head is maybe just find a house that looks friendly and knock on the door and see if they mind me pitching my tent in their front yard for the night, but that seems awful bold. I mean, best case scenario, they're like, oh yeah, come in and have some dinner, here's a bed, take a shower, charge your stuff. And realistic worst case scenario, they just say no. There are other worst case scenarios I could conjure, but I don't think they're super realistic. Yeah, so anyways, that was my thought process there. I guess I'm gonna press on and I'll check in with you guys wherever I settle in. It's 8:02 in the evening and 61.8 degrees, and I made it to home for the night. Definitely a little later than usual. Pushed a little bit, got mileage I could be proud of, and I did wind up just finding a house that was set pretty much right on the street. A lot of these houses are set back with long driveways. This one pretty much right on the street, and looked like the main door was open and the screen door was closed. So I kind of, walked up tentatively, announced, hello, hello, and knocked on the door, stepped back. So I was probably 10 feet back from the door. Didn't want to be right in anyone's face, and probably late middle-aged gentleman answered the door. Quick conversation. I just kind of introduced myself. Hello, my name is blah blah blah. 2,200 miles into a hike from Mexico to Canada. I'm sorry to bother you. Is there any way you wouldn't mind if I just pitch my tent for the night? I'll be gone first thing in the morning. I won't bother you at all. I got one of those, kind of like that, when he heard the hiking bit, and then I got 2 words out of him: don't care. Fine enough. So I thanked him profusely, sirred him, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, no worries. Now his house is across the street, and he's got this sort of, I don't know what, I would say garage, but that wouldn't be doing it justice, sort of this, I guess, I don't know what, workspace sort of across the street as well. So I confirmed that was his property, and he said yeah, and that was about it. I said, I'll set up over there. I'll stay out of your way. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much. And that was that. So here's my tent. Looking good. Should be great. Tomorrow, gonna hike some more. Go figure. This is beautiful country out here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country. I'm hoping some of these shots came out, but you know what? I'm not gonna blabber away. It was a long day. My feet hurt, and I'm tired, and just want to get in bed. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.